Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Cool Clubs podcast. Today, I'm joined by Jacob Davidson from Callaway. Thank you for being on, Jacob. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do for Callaway?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jack. Really excited to be here with you guys and the Cool Club audience here. As you said, my name's Jacob Davidson, and I oversee the global tours here at Callaway, as well as oversee product strategy and the GM of Odyssey. So really involved a lot on the tour side as well as the product side, and that's something that is unique at Callaway. Our global tours and our R&D all roll up into our senior vice president, Tim Reed, which is something that Chip Brewer, our CEO, is really passionate about, is making sure that, tour drives the performance decisions and helps us innovate. We have a belief here at Callaway that really the best players across the globe, whether it's on the men's side or women's side, really will show us the directions and trends of where we're going, and then we can take that and use the stuff that we see from testing on tour to really guide our R&D teams to make decisions on future products that we're going to launch for our customers and hopefully solve their needs.
Well, you are the perfect guy for what we're looking for here. Today, we're celebrating what Callaway's done this year, and it's a lot, and this is going to be a bit of a long one, but we're going to try and cross off as much and make sure that we get across to people exactly what you just said. Callaway's tour driven. You start the year at the Century, and you often win the Century with product that's just been released, which is like an incredible feat in its own, with players changing and then driving that technology trickling down. Like, these are the best players in the world, the most skilled golfers who really understand the nuances of golf clubs, and getting their feedback to drive client performance in the average golfer's performance is what we receive. We're seeing that client come in the door. We're going to trust brands like Callaway to deliver every step of the way, because there's such a broad spectrum of golfers, and you have to trickle down from what a tour pro needs to what a weekend warrior needs. So let's dive into the Smoke line, which is where you started the year at, and it's obviously a family. And let's kind of start with the heroes. Obviously, like I said, you won on the Century, and the driver won straight away. So can you touch on that driver family and really what changed from just the paradigm model into the Smoke to blow this thing up and really change the paradigm?
Yeah, that's right. It has been an incredible year with A.iSmoke. We're, number one selling driver in the U.S. Really excited about how this product performed. And anytime you can get that first win right out of the gate at the tournament, Century Tournament of Champions, now an elevated event. And that was a special one for us. Chris Kurt is really close to the Callaway family here. His brother, a little fun fact, is actually a sales rep for us. So, a lot of brotherly love there to lead the charge. From a sales rep standpoint, they were really excited to see that win. And obviously he had an AI1 putter there as well. But, for us going into the off season, as a tour team, it's a really unique opportunity in November, December, right? Coming off Paradigm, number one selling driver, really was our best year on tour. Had record wins, record non-paid usage, which is something that we really value on tour is, what are the best players in the world? What driver are they choosing when they're not under any type of formal agreement with a club OEM? That's a really good test for us on the equipment performance side. And Paradigm, we saw just record growth and winning tournament wins, but also winning that non-paid usage across the PGA Tour. So going into the off season, you're like, wow, we got to convince the best players in the world to make a change. And for them, that's, it's got to be better. To look a PGA Tour pro or LPGA Tour pro and look them in the eyes at the end of a fitting and and convince them or show them the numbers of why it's better. It's the same thing that you guys are doing at Cool Clubs, right? You have your customers come in and you got to beat what they have in their current bag in order to get them to upgrade or make a change. And so with A.iSmoke, I think the tour team was a little nervous coming off Paradigm because it was such a good year. But, early on, we saw incredible performance. Something that the team really worked hard on was the AI smart face and really having, so many control points across the face. And we saw that resonate so quickly in the testing with the tour pros and seeing downrange dispersion tighter, more consistent spin across the face. We saw really good increases in ball speed, really neutral ball flights. And so, guys like Chris, guys like Xander coming off really good driving years, were able to make easy transitions. And that's always a good testament for us. We can kind of almost kind of predict what our sales are going to look like on how that early feedback goes with our tour guys in November and December. So kind of going into Christmas at this time last year, we're really excited and knew that we had a good product. And then ultimately to get right out of the gate with Chris winning. And then, you fast forward, 2 major championships on the men's side, back to back from Xander, 9 wins on the PGA Tour, a major on the women's side with Yuka. We're really excited with how the A.iSmoke family's been performing.
With the A.iSmoke technology, where you talked about it's sweeter from every spot, right? So the face really changed this year, and you started to dial in. I can't remember exactly what you just said then, but basically, I say hot spots. They're not really hot spots. It's just more forgiveness in certain areas that are matched to different players. It's not just about the tour player, right? You took AI to the next level, which is like beyond computer learning and robot learning. It's what do real golfers do? What do their swings do? And how do these impact locations need to react to that player? And then each model is then designed specifically for the golfer that's kind of using that, right?
That's right. Callaway's been the clear leader in using artificial intelligence in club design. And, it's something that we're very passionate about. We feel like we have a strong leadership position in artificial intelligence. And, from our point of view, there's some competitors out there that they talk about MOI just from a static standpoint or what it measures in a lab. For us, when we talk about MOI, it is actually downrange dispersion. You may hear us describe our drivers in that way. And the reason why we believe in that is because it's not just what a club measures in the lab. It's actually what is happening when you go out on the driving range, you go out on the course and you're testing the product. Where does the product actually end up over the course of a sample size of swings? And we're measuring that. And so that's where AI and artificial intelligence is really helping us, is because we're actually changing, the face thickness and, on a heel shot, on a toe shot, on a high or low strike, we're able to change the spin, launch, and speed on that in order to move that downrange dispersion tighter. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, the consumers will tell you who has the best product. And A.iSmoke's been performing great on tour in the marketplace this year. And we really feel like the AI Smart Face taking the next step in what we did this year and really applying more inputs into that based on the swing codes. We talk a lot about swing DNA, swing RNA, and how that's factored into what shape we're using. And I think so many people, AI is a buzzword right now in society. So many people are overusing that tool. And at Callaway, when you look back in the R&D building, it's not a supercomputer that someone's hitting a button on that's really telling the team how to design these drivers. There's really been a big shift in how the team is built back there. When you look 7-8 years ago, there was 150 engineers, and now it's still 150 engineers, but maybe 35 of them are software engineers. And they're actually out there having to write the code, tens of thousands of codes of line because this stuff doesn't exist out there. And then the inputs they're providing is we're taking fitting data from all across the world, and looking at different types of golfer swings and what models they fit in, and then segmenting that out. And so while we are using AI as a tool, there's a lot of investment that's gone in there and resources, and then collecting the data because it doesn't exist anywhere in the world. We're building this from the ground up. So I always, when I'm talking to friends or family and they really say, well, what does AI mean in club design? I think that they always walk away at the end of the conversation when I kind of unpack it a little more is it's not chat GPT, right? We're actually going out and building codes and models and gathering input, and then AI is able to be a tool to help us kind of expedite that prototyping software that we're writing in-house here.
Right. Okay. Like we kind of do something with Dr. Tom Mace, who works on our team for our R&D, because we test all of your products and other manufacturers, so we get a better understanding of what our clients can get. And we've really learned that AI, the smart face specifically, is like one piece of the forgiveness story. You can leverage it more or less, and then MI is another piece.
Right.
There's no main component. You're basically pulling levers here and there to get the result you want, and each golfer needs a different lever, and that's why all these drivers are slightly different within the family. And I think Callaway just dominated this year, especially in the driver category for us. And it's not like we just sold all triple diamond or triple diamond max, or it was just a spread across all the models, because everyone that walks in, they have that different impact location and angle of attack and swing direction. And you guys do such a great job of making a club really, really kind of nuanced to that player. And that makes our job easier, because it's like, okay, we see these characteristics, we can measure them. And then, like you said, that downrange dispersion, which is what everyone's net result needs to be, right? Like, I hit more fairways, I feel more confident, I can go after it. And I don't know where you go from A.iSmoke, but I'm excited to see what is to come. But we're still doing really well with this product.
Yeah, no, A.iSmoke is we're really proud of it and excited for what's coming next year. But been an incredible year, and I think it's going to be tough, man, to get A.iSmoke out of the bags of not only customers but tour pros. It is going to be a tough one because this product is really exceptional.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into, like, staying in the family. The driver is always the hero, right? It's what we see on TV, guys hitting bombs. But we are seeing a lot more fairway woods in play. And the stat is that you guys just basically were number one fairway wood across all tours, correct?
That's right. So something we're real proud of. Number one fairway wood, number one selling fairway wood, and number one selling across the global tour. So, back to my earlier point, majority of those players across the global tours are non-paid users, right? So they're choosing to play our fairway woods, and this is something that hasn't always been the case for Callaway. But we've really clearly separated ourselves in the fairway wood segment, and taken a leadership position with that. So we're really proud of that. A.iSmoke, has been really our biggest growth year over year in the metal wood. So while we're, have had a great year and grown over Paradigm in the driver category, fairway woods, we took a big step up this year and further separated ourselves from our competitors. So really excited about that. That's driven, first and foremost by just kind of our unique A.iSmoke Max. I think from a shape standpoint, we're a little bit shallower than maybe some of the other offerings out there in the market, which is really beneficial from a launch and a forgiveness standpoint. So we're really excited about that. Then you add in the tungsten speed cartridge, which is something that really helps us with launch and maintaining spin, and keeping that spin down. So you shift over to the triple diamond, which is our most played fairway wood on tour. And then of course we have the Max D, which is that fairway wood offering for the consumer or golfer that needs a little bit of the semi-draw shot shape correction. I think that it has a little bit of a bigger profile. But ultimately, I think when people describe our fairway woods right now, the two things that come to mind is easy to launch and forgiving.
Yeah, I can attest to that. You hit the nail on the head for me. The key point that we saw this year for the golfers that we see most of is that shallowness, which is top the crown of the sole depth, and think it's just like, I mean, it's not underrated. It's not the first time it's ever been done, but getting it right, getting it in the right CC head shape, framing that
Yeah.
loft correctly, framing the sole on the ground. It's a challenge to do that. And when you get fairway wood that it's got that nice size from top to bottom, it just gives people so
Right.
much confidence and hitting it off the deck. And like fairway woods are so hard. We see tour pros hitting them because they can
Yeah.
pull back off the driver and still get distance, but for weekend warriors, like it's a tough club, and you guys nailed it. Also, with the depth of offerings of a loft, right down to the 11 in
Yes.
the Max model, like we're seeing more head covers in the bag, but that's more height, more distance and less stress when you're trying to get the ball in the air and land it on the green from a yard. It can be
Yeah.
harder with a long iron and a hybrid. So
That,
confidence
that
in the fairway
that's
wood
right.
is key.
We really have seen more fairway woods, higher lofted fairway woods. That's been a resurgent in the last couple of years. And, that was, I can remember, again, I always go back to tour, but Torrey Pines, when the US Open was at Torrey Pines a couple of years ago, we were seeing seven woods kind of start to get popular again on tour, and then we brought out a triple diamond seven wood. I think it was in response to that, and the market's starting to see that as well. So hybrids are still an important and a big segment of our business, but we've seen massive growth all the way up into those 11 woods, and I think that to your point, getting a shape that is easier to hit off the ground, but it has a little bit more forgiveness has been really the sole reason of why we've seen those go and play.
Yeah, I would touch on 2 points there. One is, the hybrids are great. They've also got that kind of shallower looks, which is easier to hit.
Yeah.
And hybrids can be finicky, right? I think people have maybe had a bad taste in their mouth when hybrids first came out, and I don't think the technology matched anywhere near it is today on the ability to not hit the left shaft. They're definitely more workable and versatile, but adding in fairway woods that are as easy to hit and can go higher and further, it's just options for guys like us. When you see someone come in and they say, "Hey, I play at this golf course,
Yeah.
I need this yardage and I need to stop it." Well, now we've got fairway woods, hybrids, driving irons, long irons, UW, like so
Yes.
much option in that space, which is great.
That's right.
But
We talk about a lot in the building, top of the bag versatility. That's something that we want to make sure that we give fitters top of the bag versatility to solve those. There's so many options in wedges, right? With grinds and lofts and different types of wedges, whether it's a full toe, a cavity back, a tour opus wedge. Why don't we do that in the top of the bag, where we know it's really instrumental for players? So we've been hard at work at that and really excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just touching back on the tour, you said that the triple diamond was the predominant model out on tour there.
Yes.
What's the split between it and Max?
It's about 65% triple diamond and about 35% Max. The Max has grown. I mean, we used to have none of those in play on tour probably 3 years ago. But it's been amazing to see LPGA Tour, Champions Tour, DP World Tour, for whatever reason, they also gravitate a little bit more to that Max head. On the PGA Tour, we never saw that 3-4 years ago, and a lot of guys are playing that now.
Yeah, well, still easier to hit for those guys. It's still easier to hit, so it's happy time.
That's right.
Let's go. I mean, hybrids. There are two models, and they kind of blended into the irons. Not that I want to skip over the hybrid, but in the iron model, the smoke and then the smoke HL, and you also have the Max, which is the lighter weight version, the Max Bar. When we tested on the robot, the regular smoke, the core model smoke, was one of our longest irons we ever tested, and it didn't have a lot of trade off in stopping power. And then you've got HL, which has got even more stopping power. Touch a little bit on like the design features that allowed you to hit that mark, and the HL especially, maybe pushing people into, well, why would that be more useful?
Yeah, I think it's, with irons, we've made a really ton of innovation on, to your point, stopping power, right? Originally, when you looked at irons as manufacturers maybe strengthened the lofts a little bit, the everyday golfer, they lost spin, and that became a problem. And that's something that, we knew golfers needed more distance. They wanted more distance. They wanted to hit it further. They wanted a club that was more forgiving. But when we did that, there was always a trade-off, and that trade-off was stopping power. And so we worked really hard on, working to get more spin back in the irons. And same thing with drivers, is having the ability to have that AI face in the irons allowed us to move spin back in the irons, give golfers more stopping power. And then what we really saw, and this was something that, as we were collecting data, to build the inputs for our artificial intelligence and really segmenting and bucketing out that data, is we saw that there was, a segment of golfers that really needed, more launch to get more distance. It wasn't about just giving them a stronger loft or more ball speed, but ultimately, if they can't get the ball up in the air, it's not going to travel as far. And then they need to keep it on the green. And so that was really where we kind of decided to come out with this HL offering. We're really excited about it. It's overachieved for us this year, especially, in the fitting type accounts where a fitter had early identified as, wow, there is a hole in the market here, and to be able to offer that has been a really good club for us. So again, the A.iSmoke standard, great iron, it's our core iron, but having that HL is really a segment that we think will grow in the future. And that's something that, we're hard at work on, is there any type of golfers out there that maybe don't fit into a specific model that we can offer them something that gives them the benefits? And I think HL was a really good example of that.
HL is just a great. Let's just dive into what it means a little more. It's the golfer that comes in and maybe is afraid of loft, and they're like, I want to hit it further. So you say, well, it's a high loft or high launch or whatever, and they can't. Like, well, if it goes higher, it's not going to go as far. And they're maybe not that good hitting the center of the golf club. Yep. So all of a sudden, you get these bigger package golf clubs that have got more room to hit, more space across the face and surface area, bigger soles because the angle of attack is less consistent. They're wider from front to back, which is obviously moving that CG away and low, makes them more stable. But when you move CG back, you also get the ball going really, really high anyway. So you kind of have to strengthen the loft. And I think that's the misconstrued thing in the industry. Is like they're strengthening loft to make them go further. Really, you're strengthening loft to negate the shape of the golf club, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's an offering that, no one's going on buying these off the rack, right? We had to educate the consumer of what is HL? Why do I need it? And so, when you look at the market share of those irons, it started off kind of slow, and then you just see this gradual uptick. And it all started from, accounts like Cool Clubs, where, fitters and golfers are coming in and they go, oh, wow, this is amazing. Never seen this before. I didn't know. I didn't come into the fitting center today thinking I was going to buy a set of HL clubs, but after they hit them, they go play with them. They're telling their buddies. And so we're real excited about that. It was slow starting off because it was a new, problem that we solved. And it's been cool to just see it, just like I said, it just gradually grows, really, almost grassroots, and guys and girls get it out on the course, and they realize that I'm actually hitting it further because I'm launching it higher. And I can keep it on the green with more spin, which is a huge positive, in order to score better.
And you touched on it just a second ago with you want to offer irons for everyone, right? And there's so many different types of golfers out there, especially when you start putting the ground in play, the turf interaction, and the players' requirements of visual, and then feel, and then launch and spin and distance. Like, you really have got a broad range. So let's go through. Tell us the core differences maybe between, you've got the Pro line, which is like CB, MB, and then you've obviously got that Pro at the top there, which borders on the new Apex line of 200, 300. And then TI Fusion, again, sits kind of on its own. Just walk us through that spectrum.
Yeah, so we do. Callaway, number one across all categories, right? So we do have a lot of offerings in the iron category, but it's real simple. TI Fusion is our concept irons that, we had a technology that everybody in the building fell in love with. just something, as we talk about, is really a wow factor, meaning that the first time you hit them, you say, wow. They sound different. They feel different. Performance is different. You don't need a launch monitor in order to be blown away by these. This is, innovation that we haven't seen in iron category in decades. The team worked really hard in doing something and solving manufacturing, issues that they could never do before. However, it's expensive, right? It's an expensive iron, but we felt like, why would we sit on this technology that we know is so good, even if the price point is really high? So we launched those, really excited about them. Everybody that hits them absolutely loves them. I can remember personally, when my dad was out at the ECPC and I fit him for him, he had that same feeling where he hit them and it was just like, wow. And so it's been exciting to see that. Then we have really our flagship irons, which is our Apex. We've been the clear leader in the players distance irons for a long time now, and been 10 years in the making. And so, we came out with our AI 200s and our AI 300s under Apex, which has just been incredible performance the last couple months since those have hit the market. So really excited about those, forged face.
Before you move on to from those, just that flash performance, that hollow body.
Right.
I want to go into the forged concept, because a lot of companies use the word forge, and
Right.
you use that word as kind of like a liberal sense these days, but you kind of changed the paradigm on that a little, right?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people do use forge, but it might be a forged face and not a forged body. So, we wanted to make sure that we gave the consumer a true forged club, and so, excited to do that for the first time. And these irons, combined with all the other technology in them, the AI, the Apex. These go up against any iron on the market right now, and they're winning in the fitting bays. Really excited about this. It's been 3 years, right? It's been a little while since we relaunched Apex, so there's a lot of pent-up demand from current Apex users that have been waiting for Apex. And what's interesting about Apex is a lot of the consumers, they're on their fourth generation of these, right? When Apex came out originally with Face Cup, back in 2014, I think was the first one. They bought them every year because there's been performance, and then it was on a 2-year cycle, and then we didn't bring it out last year, and a lot of people were frustrated. It's like, oh, we want to been on this nice buying cycle, but then when they see the performance of the AI 200 and the AI 300, they know why we waited. It was performance that they're seeing big gains over the current Apexes that are in the bags or even other competitors. So we have that Apex 200, AI 200 that, is really kind of for that Apex user. It's more of a standard kind of mid handicapper. And then we have the AI 300, which is a little bit more game improvement. That was an iron back in the day that we called like an Apex DCB or something like that. But what we did is we listened to feedback, we cleaned it up. It's hollow body. We adjusted the bounce, the offsets on that. And so this is an iron for, that golfer that needs something that's a little bit more confidence inspiring when they look down, need a little bit more of that extra forgiveness, but still want the playability. So, in the distance. So really 2 great irons there with the AI 200, 300. I can't stress enough. If you haven't hit these, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Get out this fall. Go see a fitter at cool clubs. Really been exciting to see how well these are doing in the market. And then, like you said, we have our better player irons, which is our CBs, our Apex Pros, and then ultimately, our MBs. So those are kind of the 3 categories that we have. Really our Apex, our core model, and then, we'll have our Apex Pros.
Just touch on a little bit, just to help the consumer think about the Apex Pro versus maybe the 200, and separate those two for me.
Yeah, I think the Apex Pro is going to be a little bit better player, not as big sole, a little less offset, a little less forgiving. That 200 is going to be a little bit stronger lofted. It's going to be the hollow back. It's going to have a little bit more technology, a little bit more forgiveness in it. So, I always say the Apex Pros for kind of those lower handicaps, kind of maybe getting into the 5.6, and then your AI 200s is your irons that you're going to see kind of those higher lower digits on into the 10, 12, 14.
And maybe seeing the Pro blend a little bit as well in the higher end of the
That's
bag,
right.
like a combo set with a more of like a CB player.
That's right, Jack.
Yeah, awesome. And now something else, Opus. A culmination of great work. The Greek mythology. It's so different from Callaway and
Right.
refreshing. And not saying that any Callaway wedge before was bad, but like it's a real shift in like design and feel and look. One of my favourite things this year has been this Opus wedge. Talk to us a little about how you got there and why such a big change, and how you got it so soft.
Yeah, you're right. It was a big shift for us, and the name is, sometimes you have names that just fit products so well, and Opus was that. And it really started back with Tour. In the past, Tour wasn't maybe as involved in wedge design as some of the other categories. And we just said, hey, we want to actually get wedges in play on Tour before we launch them. And so, we worked really close with Dean Teckel, one of our PJ Tour reps, our tour reps, and we really just we revamped his job. And I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, we were at our annual tour meetings in November, which would be coming up here, and I pulled Dean aside and I said, Dean, here's your new job. You're going to go out and you're going to work with the wedge team and you're going to develop prototype wedges on tour, and we're going to get them in play, and we're not going to launch a wedge in the market until we know we have a wedge that tour players are playing. And so we went on this journey, and Dean's an incredible guy that's been out on tour for a long time. He lives in West Texas. If you get a chance to talk with him, he's just he's exceptionally smart, but he has that everyday ability to just kind of talk to someone in a real manner that they can understand. And so he went out and spent the first couple months on tour just working with players and listening and taking notes. He comes back in with this notebook full of just notes from the best players in the world, whether that's a tour event, whether they're in our test center. And it was he went with just a humble intention to just listen and gather. And what do you like about your wedges? What do you don't like about your wedges? What would you like to see in a wedge in order to make it better? And would go in and spec out and trace designs and shapes and looked at every detail. And he was working alongside Brian Herr and the wedge team here in the building, and they were collaborating so well together. And so then they started prototyping shapes and getting them in front of tour guys and getting feedback. And, they would say, hey, we really like what you did here. You, made the leading edge a little bit more rounded, but we don't like, what you guys did in the toe here. And so they just kept iterating and kept bringing them out. And, guys like John Rahm, guys like Chris Kirk, so many different players were involved in that. And what was funny about it is the tour guys were getting into it, right? They were asking is like, hey, when's that next prototype going to be ready? They were eager to see it. They were eager to test it because they were involved in it. And they'd seen the evolution of a wedge go from, what we called S1 to S2 to S3. And then, John put in a model and was playing it in a major, and other guys were putting it in. And it's one thing to just put the wedge in, but for us, it's like, hey, it needs to stay in play for, multiple weeks, right? Going over to the Open, playing at the Travelers, playing different conditions, different lies. And we were testing new groove packages. And ultimately, we landed on this S6, which was the Shape 6, the sixth version, and the evolution of the prototypes of the Opus wedge that, so many players were playing, and we had it under the Jaws Raw branding, but we just put this little descriptor on there called S6 that was stamped to essentially let, kind of our internal building know is that we weren't ready to come out with a name yet, but this was a wedge that was played on tour. Guys were winning with it. To your point earlier, Chris Kirk won with it at the Century. He was number one in strokes gained around the green. And so, we're real excited for all of the new innovation that went into this wedge from a shaping standpoint, from a feel standpoint, from a spin standpoint with the upgraded grooves. And then, when we went to launch this wedge, it was as simple, Jack, really as handing them a new wedge that no longer had the Jaws Raw undercover graphics on it, but now had the Opus on there. And so, for us, that was just such an easy story to tell. When you think about wedges, it's about feel, it's about craftsmanship, it's about versatility, it's about performance, and what there's really no better way to do that than leveraging the best players in the world on the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour. And so we were really excited, and that was our Opus, right? It was really a unique way of us coming together to give the consumers our best. And to your point, I was just in Europe and Japan last week, and listening to the different regions report out about the products that they're seeing, and both of them record highs in Opus. So I think that Callaway's here to establish ourselves as a major player in the wedge landscape. And then, again, just like we did in Thai Fusion, we didn't stop at the Opus. The team was challenged with, hey, what could you do to get the highest spinning wedge? And that's where the Opus Platinum came in to play, is having that extra tungsten on there. For the first time, we did a MIMmed wedge. And so we're excited now to not just have the Opus, but to have that Opus Platinum, a little bit more of a higher price point, but that gives you a little bit more performance, gives you a little bit more spin, and gives you two tiers. So those consumers that are buying the Thai Fusion irons, that are buying the Apex irons, they'll probably stretch a little bit for the Opus Platinum, just because they'll see some performance there. It's being played on tour, and then just really our core offering of Opus wedges that look beautiful and come in a couple of different finishes. And of course, we have all of the grinds that Dean and the team worked on, and really refining there. So excited about that.
Yeah, I've actually got the low bounce in the lob wedge. And
Yeah.
I've got all blacked out, black shafts, black grip, the whole thing. I mean, they look so good. But I encourage anyone. We've got a specific wedge fit in here at Cool Clubs at our Sunridge Canyon location. You can go out there and you can do a full short game. Like, get involved with the wedges. And I'm not big, feel is everything with a wedge. I like being able to lay it down the way I lay it down, hit some certain shots. These things feel incredible. Truly the softest wedge. Like, that's the first thing I noticed. I hit them. Obviously, I looked at the shape. I was like, this is different. Fantastic, does what I wanted to do, but I hit it and I was like, wow, like truly the TI Fusion wow moment. That's what I got with the Opus. So I do not sleep on Callaway wedge this year. They're a serious competitor in the game.
Yeah, we're excited to see a lot of people come in to the Opus wedges that historically have not played Callaway wedges. So that and it really was to exactly what you were describing, Jack. When we talk about why are these wedges doing so well, there are really two things that we've identified. Is first is the performance. We knew the performance was there, but actually it was our PGA club professionals. They got these wedges, and exactly what you were talking about is they couldn't stop talking about them, how good they were in the performance. And so, when you get a lot of these PGA club professionals at Greengrass are great players, and they start talking about it, that's what's driving the golfers to want to come back and get fit and try them for the first time. So, performance, and then the Greengrass professionals are really driven the success. And then, obviously, the fitters, and they see something that's performing, and they're going to put it in the hands and say, hey, I know historically you may not have tried a Callaway wedge, but I can tell you that this wedge really does perform. So we're excited about that.
Well, you're going to kill it. You're going to keep going through next year. I know that. Two final things, and I don't want to rush them because they're maybe two of the biggest things that you released this year. The AI putters, which have just been incredible for us. Obviously Odyssey's been the number one putter on tour and number one putter for a long time. Then having the AI face has really just elevated it from a performance standpoint that we never saw. And then golf ball to go along with it. And golf ball isn't something that Cool Club necessarily sell, and you come and you buy it, but we've had some real success with recommending that golf ball as the gold standard has been
Right.
fantastic. So can you touch on those two together?
Yeah, AI1's been great, and to your point, Odyssey has been the number one putter on tour now for 24 straight years. I'm really proud of that. And in the past, while we were the number one putter on tour, we weren't always, the number one putter that the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour players were using weren't always the ones that we were selling, right? There's a lot of different models, a lot of different inserts out there. And we're proud that with AI1 this past year and really 12 months since we launched it, almost 500 tour pros have converted into AI1. It's the most used and trusted insert in play across the global tours. When you look at all of the tours across the globe, PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, DP, Champions Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, we won every count across the globe except for one this past year. And that was an unfortunate occurrence at Napa Valley when we only had 7 staffers in the field because the majority of our staffers had played Tour Championship and they were playing the President's Cup the next week. So, just incredible to think about that we won every account, won every count across the globe. Really clear separation from our nearest competitor like we've never seen before. As far as accounts perspective, we were number one in wins. We were number one in majors. So the AI1 has just been really an amazing performance. And what we saw is on every one of those global tours, Jack, believe it or not, every tour touched 50% usage of AI1 putters. So when you're talking about, across the tours, Odyssey normally has somewhere, if it's like a DP tour, 70 putters in play on a week, PGA Tour, 55, 60, LPGA Tours kind of in that mid 50s. 50% of all those Odyssey putters in 1 year were already AI1. So just amazing to see as we talk about it now is, AI is our number one, right? We were the number one putter on tour, but now AI1 is our number one, which is great. And something we've worked hard on is because we wanted the best players in the world to be using the putters that we're selling. So, and consumers can get that. So you're right, AI, variable face thickness on the putter to give you the most consistent speed across the face. And that's something that we worked really hard to solve is that we know when golfers mishit a putt, right? If you have a 20-footer and you slightly miss it low on the face, low on the toe or the heel, what's the first thing that comes to mind, right? You can feel that speed loss and you're immediately in your mind either or non-verbally or verbally saying go, 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 go. As golfers, we all know that feeling, and that was something that we wanted to solve. And so through the AI insert and using variable face thickness across the face is what we've done is we've allowed golfers to have more consistent ball speed across the face. When you hit it a little bit low, a little bit high, a little bit toeward, or a little bit heelward, that ball is going to come off with a more consistent speed, similar to what you're going to see on a center strike, so that ball ultimately won't come up short. So really excited about that. We've number one in market share in every tour across the globe. So really happy with that. We just I don't know if you saw, Jack, but we just launched some new shapes recently in the last week as well. So we've expanded upon that. We really had this what we call tour inspired shaping task force, where our Odyssey global tour reps get together and they're with a renderer in the building, and this was kind of through similar to how we did with wedges is leverage the best players in the world. So we got a new wingback, which is a modern mallet, mid mallet that's very progressive, a long alignment aid that has a little bit of a futuristic look that's been in play on tour. We have a new 2-ball jailbird, which is kind of taken our 2 most popular selling putters, the jailbird platform, adding the 2-ball alignment on that. Really excited about this. We have seen a lot of guys already move into that. We have in the mill a couple new offerings, a 1YT, a Rossi VT, which is really a combination of a Rossi and a V-line. And then in the AI1, we have our 24, which just kind of has these automotive racing stripes on it, which is another mid mallet. This was designed by Joe Toulon, who manages our PGA Tour. And so really excited for some new shapes to come. we'll be coming with some more offerings here in the next couple of weeks. But we did go ahead and slowly, add to that with some new shapes and some new freshness there, and some new cruiser models as well.
Well, when you've got a technology that works and we've evidenced it that it works, it's really hard to evidence that putts technology works.
Right.
We managed to scientifically test on our robot, which is what gives us the confidence to say, hey, put this in play, you're going to see results. Then all you need is what you just said. Add to the options, add to the things that people want to see.
Right.
Two-ball jailbird, the Rossi is something that people know, and give them alignment options. Visual feels, confidence in the color lineup. All of that stuff just means that you're going to get more and more in play because the tech is solid.
That's right. And I would just say on the AI one, don't believe me, just go to Cool Club's video, and Jack, maybe you can put that video up and the link to it, because you guys did an incredible job. And I remember we didn't give you any testing procedures. We sent you the putters. You guys did a very thorough test, and you all saw the performance. It was just really incredible. So don't take it from me. Look to Cool Clubs as a independent expert fitter and tester to see the results they saw from the performance of the AI1 insert. So
I'll link that down below so people can easily get into it again.
Yeah, it's a great video. Appreciate that.
Okay. Lastly but not least, golf ball.
Right.
The new gold standard, and it really is. I'm playing the Chrome Tour, the gold box. I can't say enough good things about it.
Right. It's you're exactly right. New name, the new gold standard, and this is a journey we've been on as well. Over the last couple of years, we've invested $100 million into our Chicopee ball factory. It's the most technological advanced factory in the world. And really the ultimate goal with that was to make the most consistent ball that's in the industry. And we're excited about that and the manufacturing upgrades that we made there. Along the way, we also updated the team. We brought in Eric Loper to run our golf ball, and he was hard at work on redesigning this new golf ball, which ultimately was the new Chrome Tour. And we felt like with the new performance and the new factory, new design, that it needed a new name. And so we're excited to bring out our new Chrome Tour golf balls this past year. Like you said, the yellow box, the Chrome Tour, which is our lower spinning ball, and the Chrome Tour X, which is a little bit firmer, a little bit faster, a little bit higher spinning. So in the first year, 3 major championships with the Chrome Tour golf ball. I'd say that is the gold standard. So really excited to see that. Xander back-to-back majors, Yuko winning it, countless other tour wins across the world. We've hit our highest ball share ever, the history of our company. So so many records being broken on the golf ball. And I think that, when you go out and you try this golf ball, what you're going to see is first and foremost is ball speed. We've been going around the country with our sales reps doing the speed spin challenge, which is essentially saying, hey, bring any golf ball in here and test it against it, see it for yourself. And it's been amazing to see how many people his eyes have been, open to see the performance of the Chrome Tour golf ball. They're going out, they're playing it, they're repurchasing it, they're converting, they're moving over from other brands. So really excited about that. And this is something that, we're proud of. We've had this ball out on tour previous, before it launched in the market. And to see everything that was redesigned, from the inner core to the new arrow pattern that, gives us the stability and flight that really tour pros desire and have thoroughly vetted has been really incredible. And then, like I said, ultimately to see the performance on the tour side and in the market, I think we're just getting started as the new gold standard, and hopefully moving into next year, I think we'll maybe drop the new and just become the gold standard. So if you haven't tried it, I would encourage you. Really exciting to see the growth of this, and we've made it really a passion of ours to be known as a golf ball company, not just a club company. And I think we're starting to earn that in the minds of consumers with the performance and the validation we're seeing on tour.
Yeah, give a quick anecdote from me is when I tried both of them, I thought I was going to be an X player, and basically I took them both out on the course, and there is a noticeable difference between the spin with the X,
Yeah.
with the driver and the tour, and basically I love the X around the green, and I love the feel of both of them. I got a little more spin with the driver with the X than I wanted,
Yeah.
and I didn't trade off anything around the green with the tour. So I basically just flipped to the tour. I got the driver flight that I wanted. I still got the spin around the green. I didn't lose any distance. And I'm like, this is the ball. Like just and super consistent because that's what it boils down to for me. I've had balls before, and you get a weird long one every now and again. And
Yeah.
I got none of that. Super consistent. The flight I wanted at the top, the spin I wanted at the bottom, and that's it. I've just got gold boxes stacked up in the cupboard.
That's awesome. Well, it's been a great year, Jack. I mean, thanks for running through all of the great highlights and the product. And, I think from drivers to fairway woods to hybrids to the Apex irons, OPUS wedges, AI1, and the new gold standard with the Chrome Tour golf ball. We feel like there's a lot of opportunities to just help golfers play better. And that's something that we're so passionate about here at Callaway is just, creating an innovating product that performs better than what golfers are playing now. So, we would ask, for the people listening to this podcast is just go to cool clubs and test, and I think that you'll be surprised to see how many Callaway clubs will perform the best and ultimately help you play better the next time you're out on the golf course.
Well, that's our mantra. Play better golf, and we'll give all the options. Our fitter experience, our back of house testing to make sure that we're giving you the best experience when you come in. Callaway providing the product it does just makes our job easier. And Jacob, I appreciate all the little tour nuggets you threw in today. Your experience from the tour level through to knowing what the average consumer needs was perfect. It's all about giving everyone the knowledge and the want to come in and experience what you talked about. So thank you so much for your time today.
That's right, Jack. Well, hopefully we'll do it again soon. And thanks so much for just taking us on this journey the last year and the products. And we really appreciate all that Cool Clubs does for Callaway. You guys are great. And, we always love because you go and test it and you share the results with us. And, it's been a good partnership. And I know we have so many people across the country that we hear have so many good experiences when they go and visit Cool Clubs. So, I think that you guys are the leaders in fitting, and it's fun to see what you guys are doing over there.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your time, mate.
Bye-bye.